This is Teslagrad, a 2D puzzle platformer in Metroidvania style, set in an alternate steampunk-esque European country that is ruled over by a tyrannical king. You play as a kid who is forced to run away from his home in order to avoid government troops who want to capture him for an unknown reason. While escaping, you're led to the mysterious Tesla Tower, which contains the secrets of the Teslamancers, who have developed ways of manipulating magnetism. Uh, Magnetism plays a key role within this game. It is the major mechanic that allows you to solve all of the puzzles and go fast in this case. Within this first section, a lot of the tricks are just movement optimization. You'll see me move on down slopes as much as possible. In fact, coming up right here, I will be jumping slightly back so that I can optimize movement on these houses, allowing me to move on the down slopes as much as possible. It'll save me about 2 seconds throughout the city walking section of the game. Right up here, we'll be doing a small little trick. It's a late jump off of the ledge onto the scales. That'll allow you to not have to climb up these vines, which is extraordinarily slow and can be very painful if you miss that. It saves about 5 seconds. Early on throughout the game, you will get the gauntlets. That'll be the first item that we receive, allowing you to magnetize certain objects, and I'll explain more about that when we get there. Coming up right here, we'll be doing the second late jump of the game, uh, allowing us to get onto that tower, which the recording actually cut out from. It allows you to jump onto that second ledge rather than having to climb up. It saves about a half second. So now we're finally entering the Tesla Tower, and we'll be introduced to the first bits of magnetism. These spiders, when you touch them, they will magnetize you with the blue energy, which is one of the 2 poles. Blue and red are the 2 poles, and it'll allow you to float up if you are blue. Opposites attract, and similar ones repel. So right here, I magnetize myself with the spider in order to jump up there and collect the scroll. I'll explain scrolls in a second. Right here, I'm going to magnetize myself with the spider, and that'll allow me to jump up onto that ledge and skip over the piston section, saving me about 5 seconds as well. So we're going to climb up this vine to collect the first of the magnetism items, the gauntlet. That'll allow me to manipulate these uncolored blocks as well as a few other items. So right here, we're going to charge blue, blue, red, red, and that'll allow me to progress into the hub of Tesla Tower. Repeat the same basic actions here. We're going to repel this red block down by charging that with the red energy, and that one up. Up here's another trick where you charge yourself with the blue spider, allowing you to push up that gate rather than having to wait for the spider to crawl through that section. So the scrolls are an item that is a collectible. There are 36 total scrolls within this game, and in order to beat any percent, you need to collect 15 of them. There are various puzzles, and within this route, we collect all the ones that are obviously completely within our path and waste the least amount of time possible. This section right here it's pretty much just avoiding spiders and making sure that you do not touch them at the wrong times. If you touch them at the wrong time, that is not planned, then chances are you'll be magnetized and you'll be attracted towards the electricity, which will kill you. You never want to die in this game. There are no death warps that we use on purpose. So up there, I collect another one of the scrolls, and we're about to head into the angry box monster. Right here, you'll actually see, his name is Furnace. Right here, you'll actually see on the top and bottom the murals, which tell you how to beat the boss. In order to beat the boss, we need to magnetize the blocks into his stomach. Right there is a really neat trick that we can do, which we stack up the boxes whenever possible, and it'll allow us to magnetize 2 boxes at once, repelling it right into his mouth rather than waiting for him to actually suck it up. All of the bosses in this game are 3 phases. There are ways to speed them up, except for the second boss, Faradaeus. In this case, it is optimizing shooting the boxes into his mouth, which is partially RNG and then also partially good movement. So we're going to move on to the third cycle. And the cycles on this boss just means that the conveyor belt on the bottom moves faster, and which means timing on boxes is a little bit more difficult. So we just beat the angry box monster Faradaeus, and we're going to go collect the second item in this game, which are the blink boots. They do exactly as you expect and allow me to blink. Right there, I just jump on top of the gruel, the little black guy right there, and I jump on his head to allow me to skip over that little section that teaches you how to use it to avoid enemies. Now I'm going to backtrack a little bit to collect scrolls, and as well as we basically want to skip over basically the tutorial, teaching you more about how to use the blink boots and different objectives. But instead we're going to go back and we're going to collect the 2 additional scrolls right here. This next part coming up is cycle based. So if you do this part properly right here, you can ensure that you are not touched by that spider that I just passed by, and that will allow you to get up about 4 seconds faster than normal. We're going to climb up here to progress through the story. And use this flower to magnetize yourself, just like the spiders do. And jump up there. So we're going to skip over this part really quick and grab one of the scrolls. Those are the theaters. Those are one of the main plot devices in this game. Obviously, we won't be stopping to allow you guys to hear the story, but they kind of give you the brunt of the story, since this is a wordless game that is very open to interpretation for the most part. Right here, we're mostly waiting for the cubes. And then coming up right here is my favorite trick in the game. It allows you to skip over about 30 to 45 seconds of content. And it just looks extremely smooth to me. And is extraordinarily easy once you actually pull it off. So we jump up there, which is a route to get another scroll. And we're going to head over to the second boss, the cage bird Faradayus. So all of these bosses were created by the Teslamancers to serve different functions. I don't actually know what the function of Faradayus was. He's kind of a mystery to me. I believe he was a delivery system. The first boss, Furnace, functioned as a trash compactor. And he, which is kind of funny because you basically kill him by feeding him the cubes, which are trash. So, Faradayus, the cage bird, is again cycle based, and unfortunately, there is only one way to speed him up in any way, and it saves at best 2 seconds. Other than that, it's avoiding his butt bombs and his normal attacks. The only difficulty that increases is he spawns more bird bombs. The only way that you can optimize this fight is by jumping sooner into his chest. I'll tell you about that in a second once we get back to that. So once he shoots this lightning, he'll start coming at you, and you jump into his chest. And the sooner you do that, the sooner you can hit him and deal damage. So right there is about the optimal movement that you can do, and you get inside of his chest to hit him. So now he's going to spawn his 3 butt bombs and just jump over them. Nice and simple. So now we're going to collect the third item of the game, the cape. This will allow you to magnetize yourself rather than relying on spiders or flowers. Just there you see me magnetize myself with the blue energy so I can repel upwards. You also use this to speed yourself up to go down, up and down faster in different ways. Right here is a neat little room, the cube, and normally you have to jump into the middle of it and wait for it to cycle around. However, we'll just jump around that real quick. This next part isn't really a skip or anything, but it's a really smooth way to get one of the scrolls. So these are what I call the molten cakes of doom, because oftentimes something will happen, like those molten, they just fall down, and if you get unlucky, it is RNG, whether it does happen or not. If you get unlucky and don't manipulate it correctly, then you will die to them and lose quite a bit of time. Coming up, you're going to see one of our favorite characters of the game, another grub, but we've named him. His name is Ted. He likes to block you up here. See, he's just standing there, so I have to blink by him, and he's annoying. He's just annoying. So that's a bull skip. I should have explained that beforehand. But basically, you skip over the puzzle right there, which normally would take about almost a minute to do. You just jump right on top of the bull instead of waiting for the grub to pass along the very top. Right up here, this is another gigantic puzzle that can take up to a minute as well. And instead, we're just going to line ourselves up correctly and jump through that pillar and climb up. Right here, we have to wait for this robot to allow the spider to open up the door on the right side. So while we're waiting, we're going to just grab the scroll up there. Here you can push that spider to the left of me. However, it's a little bit of a risky strat and is not what I would ever consider to be marathon safe, and saves about probably a third of a second if you do optimal movement. So coming up, we have Oleg, the laser orb old man who shoots you. He's the guy who drove you out of your house in the very beginning of the game, and you're now fighting him. And what he does, he shoots orbs at you and tries to protect himself. And what you do is you use your cape to attract them back in. Normally what you do is you go up to the top there and you open up the gates. I'll show you that during the third cycle because that one's RNG. But the first two, you just stand on the sides of them and position yourself correctly, and you angle them perfectly through that small gap. So here, we're going to show you exactly how it's normally done. Unfortunately, you can't do that with the third one. It is a 50-50 shot whether you get it right, so that is not something that you would be doing in a marathon. So you open up the gate and then reflect the orb into his face, allowing him to fall down. Right there, you actually see him on the right side, and what he's doing there is contemplating his decisions. And later on, you'll see what that means. He's actually going to be helping us out and allowing us to progress through the tower. So this is the hamster ball. This is one of the fan favorite rooms of the game. It's extremely fun movement. However, in a speedrun, it's not so good. There's not all that much optimization that you can do because you can only move so fast. You're not blinking, but it's still really fun. And it looks extraordinarily smooth as well. The one optimization is going to be coming up in about 20 seconds. And I'll explain that exactly what I'm doing there. So right here, you can float slightly. Moving along the actual ground or the ceiling will slow you down. So what you do is you kind of hover, you spam your cloak so you're not actually touching it, and then that will allow you to maximize your speed. So you notice how when I hit the ground, I just kind of lost half of my momentum. So you try to avoid that. You have to hit the ground at least 2 different points. Other than that, you can mostly maintain your momentum. So this is Richard. Richard is a dick. He forces this pretty fast-paced game to slow down completely because you need to wait for him. Wait for his walking. He walks towards the one cube, walks back. Walks towards the other one, walks back. And then he has to walk all the way around. This is the only room in the game where I have spent a lot of time and have not been able to find any sort of method to make it faster. So now we're going to roll this ball using the magnetism as well. And the trick here is to um, try to get the ball to move as fast as possible along the ground and get it into that beam going up so you can latch onto it and climb across. So this right here is the electric ball maze. It's extraordinarily difficult on your first playthrough, and sometimes it can even be difficult for speedrunners. Most days, it's pretty simple. So we're going to just skip over this part real quick and jump across this ledge. Here you can see I'm messing it up a little bit and getting a little bit pissed off about it because the skip is extremely simple to do most times. So there we go. You see I've got that down. I jump up there and I'm going to go collect this scroll on the left side. It takes about an extra couple of seconds to do that, but it's quite on the way anyway. So we're going to go up and we're going to climb the remainder of the Tesla Tower to get the very top of it. This will allow us to collect the final item of the game, which is the Tesla gun. I don't know if that's the official name, but that's just what I call it. And that allows you to, instead of just using your gauntlets, you can actually shoot that same exact beam, and that is what you'll be using to defeat the next boss, Gueric's Orb, who will be coming up right after we collect the Tesla gun. So this is Gueric's Orb, the eyeball boss, and we're going to optimize them real quick here. We shoot that one in the middle and allow us to destroy two of them at once. Here you can see I messed up a little bit and did not just get to destroy that second one. Normally, this section takes about 10 seconds shorter, and I have grown very consistent with that over the past week. The interesting thing about this boss to me has always been that in order to destroy him, you basically irritate him to death. You see his eyes getting redder and redder, and eventually he'll get so irritated that he gives up and explodes. So this is the last phase of the boss. It's just dodging that laser. You never shoot him, and you just wait for him to shoot 3 times, and then the boss is defeated. And there we go. So now you go crashing down through the tower, and when you land, you see Oleg is dragging you out, and he actually hands you your Tesla gun. So he starts to help you out after you've defeated him. He has thought about his decisions. I don't know what exactly he thought about, but he thought about them. He sat in the corner and he learned a lesson, after we spanked his butt. So this is where you need the 15 scrolls in order to open up the gate, and then we progress through here and stand on this platform to teleport us to where the king is. So I'm going to be counting here because it's the easiest way to know when the guards are coming up. I kill 3 guards right there, and then I magnetize that drill so I can jump past it. This is the stair drill that is a gigantic problem in a lot of runs. It can have some lag right before it, causing you to not be able to get the cycle. You have about a second and a half to be able to set that up properly, which isn't too bad without the lag. This is Dark Passageway. The first 2 floors are very safe, and then the second 2 contain gruels, those things that we saw in the very beginning of the game when we got the blink boots. And so we just kill them, since we know where they are, obviously. And as we climb out of here, you're going to see Oleg again, and you'll see him actually open up this section, allowing you to move out. I'm assuming he does this because he knows that the king has dropped you into that crevice and he knows where this leads up. What a nice guy. So now we're just going to be moving on to the king. He's another boss. He is the most annoying boss in the game because he's RNG based. You can have up to 9 cycles with him and a minimum of 3 cycles. So in each phase, you have to have 1 cycle and you can have a maximum of 3. So he uses Crown to shoot you with lightning, and then you blink past most of his attacks. That part is nice and simple. Basically, we're just waiting for these cycles. That's 1 cycle right here, so that's the minimum that he can do. Then we jump past him after he does that. This is the main phase where we can actually deal damage. Jump past, attack him, and then he puts us in a bubble, and then we can attack him again. At which point he goes back onto his throne, and he uses lightning attack again. But this time he spawns keys that will kill you if you run into them. The third phase is very similar as well. It's the same exact thing, except for the fact that the keys move considerably faster. So luckily this run was a 3 cycle, so it is the perfect RNG that you can get. Each additional cycle wastes 7 seconds. Here on the third cycle, or third phase, you'll see me use a completely different strategy in order to dodge the keys. So the last trick of the game is manipulating where the king will go. Right here, you move to a certain side so that the king spawns on the right. The game doesn't end until you take the crown to the edge and you lose movement of or control of your character. So you pick up the crown on the right side, because if you pick it up on the left side, then you will lose 11 seconds. And this is the cat, the mysterious cat that nobody understands whatsoever. The devs are pretty active, and we've asked them about it, and the best answer we've gotten has been a picture that the artist drew of his cat wanting to be an adventurer like the kid is. And that's Teslagrad.